Welcome to the Lorehounds. We're your guides to the underbelly of the Empire. I'm David, and this is our coverage of episodes 9 and 10, the season finale for the new Star Wars animated feature, Maul Shadow Lord. With me to bring the series home today, my brothers in the Force, Jean and Bryan 8063. Guys, you know, I tend to avoid swearing a lot on the podcast just to add a crassness. But come on! Standing ovation for this series. Like, come the F on. This is unbelievable. Unfrickin' believable. So we're coming in hot. Everything, full spoilers for Star Wars is on the table. Elysia is literally, her fresh takes are coming out of the podcast oven right now, and I'll be uploading them real time as we record. But she's got a lore bomb for us as well. Star Wars at thelorehounds.com, Discord channel for community conversation, links for everything in the show notes. Check the link tree. Subscribe. Come on. We do a lot of work for y'all. We have a good time, but it ain't free. So if you want, subscribe. We'd love to have your subscription. Jean, when did you know? Like, when did you know? What was your first clue?
Oh, boy. Wow. I'm trying to think when I figured it out. You know what? I don't know. You know why I say I don't know? Because I was so engaged and engrossed in the story as it was happening. That's
a great sign. That means the story is doing its thing.
Yeah, and so I wasn't really trying to... I didn't catch the moment where I was like, aha, until the moment was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was just so riveted watching what was happening on screen without that. And then when it happened, it's just like, holy shit, come on.
I was thinking of you. Totally thinking of you. Bryan, what was your big moment?
Yeah, it was... I think I had a strong clue when the trooper turns to the other trooper and says... Tell him.
Oh, that was the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the troopers, the Inquisitors.
Yeah, sorry, the Inquisitors, yes. Yeah. Tell the Inquisitors, to tell him that they're here.
That's what I knew for sure also at the same time. But then when I was doing my second watch, which I did just like a little while ago, because this week's been crazy. And so I had it like 1.5 speed trying to cram in a quick second watch, there's a second Star Destroyer that shows up right at the beginning of 9. The first one is hovering over the city. Another one floats in. That's when we all should have known.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Bryan, so what are your fresh takes for this season and episodes?
The season, I would have to say, it is up there with probably one of the best animated Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah. The only one, like I said, I think in the first episode, the one I haven't seen yet that people rave about is Bad Batch. But I've seen all the rest of the other animated shows. So I do need to see that. But man, that's so good. So good. And it brings up just so much complexity and Maul is a sympathetic, maybe tragic figure. Yes. It's just so many, things coming out of all this. It appeals to everyone. Yeah. And it is. It's like, and we keep talking about the animation. Yes. Every week. It's boring. Move on, guys.
I know it's a little boring after a while. They keep hyping the animation. But
I think, overall for the entire season, it's like what you would see in a cinema.
Right.
It's really that good to me. Yeah.
I don't think we should do a full ranking of all Star Wars live action and animated, and because it gets complex, especially with visions and that kind of stuff. But season 1 of Maul is slotting in right below Andor for me, and Andor is number 1. Season 1 of Andor to me is one of the greatest seasons of television ever. I love season 2. But season 1 had more feels for me. And I swear this season of Maul is right up in there. Like, I got to think about, there's some Regency bias going on, sure. But I don't feel bad putting it in that upper echelon of ranking. Jean, how are you feeling about the episodes in the season?
Oh, definitely. This is in my top 5 Star Wars TV shows
ever. Period. Animated live action.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why are you even making the distinction, bro? Like, come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's top 5. It's top 5 for me. I mean, that's just like I said in the beginning, I was so engaged and engrossed in the story that I missed thinking about what's going to happen next. You know what I mean? It was just like, let me just sit here and let it unfold. Because as it was unfolding, there was nothing for me to actually wonder about, because it was all happening on screen, and I just wanted to be present for what was happening on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just great. Storytelling is great visually. It's just, when it makes you, the show just makes you stop and just breathe and be totally immersed in what's going on.
There were times I was really nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just get caught up. I got caught up.
Yeah.
And wow, just
that's that
amazing.
Transcendental moment, that complete immersion moment where we seek in this kind of storytelling, be it a movie, be it a television show. Books, it's a little bit easier to drop into that because of the intimacy with the pages and the words, but visually, we're watching the clock, we're sitting in the chair in the movie theater, somebody's eating popcorn loud, whatever. There's a lot of distractions for us. So when something on screen can pull us in like this, it's a mark of creative. The level of creative execution is
incredible.
Yeah.
Just simply incredible. It was so well done. It was just really well done. And I've been watching the show, and E has been hovering around as I watch it, right? Not fully engaged in it, but he's picking up on. He's like, oh, okay, that's Maul. He likes Maul, of course, like one of his guys. So he's watching it, but he's not really watching it. But then when it happened, everything stopped. Everything stopped. Everything stopped. It just the entire. Everything that was happening before that was going on wasn't going on anymore. And he was just like glued.
I would have loved to see like if he had been holding like a bowl of cereal or something like that and just sitting there like as the bowl is slowly sort of tilting as he's completely engrossed.
Yeah. So that to me tells me something. It also tells me about the power of characters. There are some characters that are just really special, in storytelling, and they're just really, they have a hold on you. And that is one of those characters that does that, just captivating when done right, when done correctly, just simply a captivating figure. And, things stop when he's on screen.
And I think they've done a really good job of learning the lessons from Visions, learning the lessons from the previous animated series, from the cinematic world, from the television shows, and really synthesized a show. I got a lot of OG feels, right? There were sort of chase things and danger things and music cues that really brought me back into the original trilogy. But it never felt recycled. It never felt like a retread. But yet it felt very Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the animation, and I think they've learned a lot from a lot of other animators and seeing how the fandom is responding. But then when you think about Maul, and I don't know the animated series like you guys do and a lot of our listeners do, but he was just always very a little mustache twirly for me in the animated. And again, I'm not deep in it, so but that they have made him so nuanced, and the level of storytelling they really have. This feels to me like a true evolution in the form and in the storytelling, and I appreciate the fact that they have that they're leaning into that and they're really trying to apply. Bryan, you have a far off thought. You've got 1,000 yard stare going on here thinking about what I just said.
No, that's great. And I wonder, I feel in a way, it's a shame that, we pick up Maul later in shows like Rebels, right? He pops in, and I'm going to have to rewatch some of those episodes where he's in there. And I think he tries
There's some cool stuff in there, right?
Yeah. And I think he
absolutely.
tries, because he tries to, I think, bring Ezra to the dark side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's different than Devon, we'll talk about later. But man, it's like, you just want more Maul. And I wish, this will continue on for another season. I don't know how many seasons of plans to, but I'm hoping that, they make that connection, those connective tissues between this show and what we see in Rebels. Mm-hmm. And then when people watch this show, it's chronological, they move on to Rebels, we'll all be like, yeah, all right, this is great. It's all kind of connected. So I'm hoping that the creators are looking a little bit ahead to see, okay, this is the end point. This is kind of how we need to map this out. Because sometimes, it happens in the creative process where things develop, you create something toward the end first, and then the middle part comes later. It's not unusual. And sometimes it works. Yeah.
Prequel storytelling is really hard because
it is.
You're playing with more information and newer techniques and actors who've had time to think about their characters in different ways and writers to be able to learn these lessons. And then you're telling something that's got to fit into something that was done prior.
Yeah.
That's older and with it made in a different time set.
Like the original trilogy of the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
compared
think
to the
about
prequels.
Yeah. For absolutely sure. And Jean, I'm just thinking too about your son's reaction to this too. They did a really good job of balancing elements that appeal both to adolescents and adults at the same time. So
absolutely.
the lava pool thing was like completely like, oh my God, right? But it worked. And they used it effectively. Right? So they learned lessons and they applied them, I think.
Right. And it's just, again, it's the thing with this show is that we know how it ends for Maul, right? And I'm talking about the far future. We know how it ends for Maul. And to your point, to both of your points, to tell the story where we already know how it ends, but to give us this richness where I'm questioning, should it have ended the way that it ended?
Uh-huh.
Maybe I don't want it to end that way anymore. I was cool with the way it ended. But now I'm like,
and this goes to Bryan's point about the difficulty of prequel storytelling.
Yes. Because
I'm really glad that they. Oh, sorry. Did you have another?
Yeah, no. I'm just saying. I'm ready for the comeback.
One thing I'm really glad that they didn't do, and I know we were doing some speculation about this a couple of episodes ago, like who the Crow really is, and is it Maul's one of his brothers resurrected, and what did he see in his visions that's foreshadowing? I'm glad they did none of that because I felt like it would have cheapened Vader's appearance. Like, hey, we did this, this trickery stuff over here. Isn't this fun? Oh, fan service CEO, and reveal, take off the mask and reveal it's really your brother. And then Vader shows up and then we'd be like, it'd be too much. And so I'm just glad that they played it straight and the creepy Inquisitors or creepy Inquisitors, period. Right. So that really offsets when Vader shows up, just how frickin' powerful that dude is.
Oh, gosh.
Right? We have a scale now. We can actually see a progression and a scale. And it's not like everything is everything because, it's just crazy storytelling. It's actually, no, there are stakes and there are levels. And
there are levels to this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And Vader is so iconic that you're right, David. It would have been really hard to compete with that.
Right.
And they were smart not to do that because Vader takes center stage every time he comes on.
Right.
And especially at this time in his timeline, like where he is. So just a real quick, well, no, I think we'll save it for 10. I had a note about Lawson's wife because we didn't get any resolution to that, but we'll save that for maybe for the end.
Okay.
Alicia's takes are fresh out of the oven. I've got them loaded up. So let's get her fresh take on this and then react to that. And then she's got her lore bomb this week is actually about troopers and some of the mobile armor and stuff like that. So a little bit of an interesting thing because we did a good job of covering all of the other important lore like Crimson Dawn and, other things. So anyway, here's Alicia's initial take. And again, she's cut them in half. So we'll kind of hear the end of it. And then when we go to episode 9, we'll play that at that time.
Hi, Elysia here for my final fresh takes for Maul Shadow Lord Season 1. Obviously, incredible action in this show overall, and they sure did triple down on that for the finale. The action's definitely the strongest element of the show for me, just epitomized by that 5-way fight between Maul, Devon, Daki, and the 2 Inquisitors we got. Not to mention the answer to the question of which my Lord Mark was addressing in his call, which, spoilers, it was indeed Vader. And yeah, it was cool seeing Maul react to Vader for the first time because Vader was only created from Anakin, obviously, in the events of Revenge of the Sith, about a year before this. So he is not yet widely known. He's, you can see what he's been up to in the time in between in the 2017 run of Vader comics. But for Maul, he, at first he's like, oh, here's another Inquisitor in a funny helmet. And then he starts fighting him and he's like, what the fuck? But it was interesting that Maul seemed to sense that he was a Jedi, trained by the Jedi. I mean, I guess he knows that about the Inquisitors in general, but he definitely could sense that Vader was a special breed who also had the same Sith training as he did as well. It was cool to see how, Vader was not even really putting an effort into this.
No sweat.
Obviously, we didn't hear him speak. Sweat. We didn't hear him grunt or anything like that. And his movements were almost lackadaisical. It's just, just parrying and pressing forward. And he knew that he completely outmatched all of them, even when they teamed up together against him. So I hope that the people who have been complaining that Duel of the Fates is supposed to be Anakin's song and it's been kind of turned into Maul's theme song because of the way it was used in Attack of the Clones, well, I hope those people are satisfied to see Maul and Vader actually have a Duel of the Fates between them. A lot of characters went on this episode, way more than I expected, to be honest. R.I.P., obviously, Daki, Rook, Icarus, all of the rest, but Spybot, why did they take Spybot from me and from Maul? That is just a step too far. I cannot believe it. In all seriousness, Spybot has been one of the peaks of the show for me. By the way, he's voiced by the Shadow Lord sound supervisor, David W. Collins, who is, so he's the overall supervisor. So he could do Spybot on the fly and come up with more lines as he's editing and things like that. But he is also the one who got Sam Witwer voicing Maul, his first Star Wars job as Starkiller in the game The Force Unleashed. So, if you're not aware, other than Maul, the other most famous Star Wars thing that Sam Witwer has done is he is the physical model for Starkiller in The Force Unleashed, and obviously voiced that as well. And people keep wanting Starkiller to be brought into canon, and what did they give us instead? Starkiller Base. Wow, wow, wow. It's after Mara Jade, I think I hear the most people complaining about where's Starkiller in canon.
All right, I think that's the end of her first half. That was a lot of episode 10, so we'll see if she see what she's got for us later, but we'll save that for a minute. Real quick before we take a break and get into episode 9, we did get a piece of feedback from Ken, as usual. Thank you, Ken, a longtime listener, not first-time emailer. Sent in an email, and I had to screenshot it and put it in the outline just for it. He's got a picture of Vader doing the little heart symbol with his hands. And he says, the best animation, the best lightsaber fight since Acolyte, the one and only Dark Lord to round it out, 10 out of 10. What a way to spend Star Wars Day.
Mm.
And then he's got a picture of Grogu with his hands sort of raised up saying, "May the Fourth be with you." And Ken writes, "Now bring on the Mandalorian and Grogu."
I second that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Let's save our Mando and Grogu for other conversations down the road. I've not been keeping up with, I guess there's some more material has been released. Tracking has come in, and I don't know, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. I'm just going to wait for the movie, I think, by and large, and I'll see it when I see it. And I know that there will be Lorehounds talking about it, so don't you worry. All right, so let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll get into episode 9. And we're back. Episode 9. Thank you, Wikipedia, for these fabulous episode synopses. Chapter 9, Strange Allies. Dryden Voss of the crime syndicate Crimson Dawn offers Maul safe passage off Janix in exchange for becoming Crimson Dawn's new leader. Maul sends a mental message to Devon, and she leads the rest of the group to a meeting point where Maul proposes an alliance to get off the planet. Lawson suggests an underground route to the rendezvous point outside the city. Coming to an acidic river of toxic waste, the group slowly crosses as the Inquisitors catch up with them. Maul holds the Inquisitors off long enough for the others to cross and then joins them. Outside the city, they're confronted by the Inquisitor's master, Darth Vader, who kills Cast. Is that right? Yeah, it kills Rook.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Wikipedia thing is wrong there. Right. I have way more notes for this episode than I do for episode 10. Like episode 10 was just kind of simple in some ways, but it was totally good. And I completely forgot it was May the 4th when these came out. So perfect way to celebrate Star Wars Day. Jean, why don't you start us off with your non-Vader related thoughts?
Just the fact that the connection between Maul and Devon was so clear, and that he was able to just, reach out to her through the Force to let her know where to go, what to do. And Daki was just like, fuck. He was just like, fuck. It's like,
now,
this
didn't we first see this power with what's his name and what's her name in the final series of films? Oh man, I'm completely blanking actors and characters' names. Kylo Ren and
Rey.
And Rey, didn't he do that? Wasn't he able to send a message out to her, not in a non-Force Ghost like way?
Yes, he was.
Right.
Yes. I think there've been a few others.
Yeah, Luke and Leia communicated non-verbally.
True. Right, right. Yeah. But it was more just of a presence rather than like a specific communication.
This was a communication.
Well, but then later there was something where Luke sent something to her, didn't he? It's all getting mixed up in my head now. Anyway.
No, but just that little tidbit was just like so awesome.
Yeah.
Because it set my expectation was like, okay, Devon and Maul are definitely more linked than, more together than they appeared to be at first. She's trying to not fall in line, right? She's trying to say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. But yet there is something that is, binding them, holding them together. And that was it. And for me, it was all about Daki's reaction. Yeah. I just loved that little triangle.
Right. That little Monster Energy drink reaction on his face.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So that Maul, Devon, Daki, where is she going to go? It was just like, okay, Maul
yeah,
has
bro, she's stepping out on you.
Yeah.
Yes, your senses are telling you the truth. You are losing your
You are
Padawan.
losing your Padawan. You are losing your Padawan.
Yeah. And you can imagine, I can't imagine the training that you would have to do because putting a vision inside someone's head, that's pretty intrusive, right? That's like, whoa, you're putting, against my will, you're putting something in my brain. But I guess for Jedi and, for those who use the Force, it's not crazy unusual. And here they are, Daki and Devon talking about, oh, there's this vision you put in your head. They're like talking about, having coffee together. It's like, what?
Right. It's like it's like a very mundane conversation.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead, Bryan. Sorry, go ahead.
And this is, I think, a theme that we'll kind of ponder around here is about Devon's agency, right? Did she, is it inevitable that she would become his apprentice? What agency and decision does she have in doing this, as we'll see in 10? But 9, as you say, Jean, it really sets up this vision, really sets up this whole relationship, even the entire season. But that particular episode, that moment, I should say, is great to bring up because that is important, right? That kind of connection that they're having. And Devon is not hugely comfortable with it. I don't think she ever is comfortable with it when you think about it.
Right.
And she is really, I think, become one of, it feels like she's becoming a fan all-time favorite now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With good reason. She's a great character.
Yeah.
And she's not sort of like, but I wanted to go into Tashi Station and pick up some power converter. Right? There's not that sort of whiny Padawan thing where like, Master, let me do something fun and cool. She's a young person having young person trials and tribulations. Like, how do I figure this out? How do I make choices between this good and the evil? And I see that Maul is not wrong. And yet, the situation we're in is because my master is being cautious and is passive the right word, but you're not proactive. And that's one thing you want to do when you're young.
Right. You
want to be active. You want to go act. You want to see yourself in the world and you want to see the world react to your presence.
Right.
Right. That's kind of a universal thing. We just want to be up and out there. And she's got cool ass powers, and Maul's like, you're wasting them. You're wasting your talent. Yeah. You're wasting your training.
Yeah.
And so, he's very seductive in that way, and is very, very, so the question you get, it's a really good question, Bryan, about, agency and manipulation, because we see Maul totally manipulate Lawson really nicely about figuring a way out of the city.
Right.
Yes. That's right.
But that is the Sith way, right?
That's a Sith way. Exactly.
To manipulate your emotions.
It's a Sith cycle too, It's like, this is, it's Maul. We see him trying to do different things, but he's doing the same stuff that Palpatine did to him. I mean, he's taken that training so well that he's maybe not even knowing it. He's applying it to Devon. It's like, oops. Yeah. I don't know.
That's a really great insight. That's true. Right. He can't escape the model. Like that's how he was parented. And when we become parents, it's pretty terrifying when you start to realize that there's all this programming that's been latent in your brain and it starts sort of suddenly coming out. And unless you address it and are present to it, you can very easily end up parenting like you were parented.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And there was this moment. This about Maul's, and to your point, Bryan, about Maul and the Sith way. Earlier on in the season, people were wondering, like, why did Maul spare Lawson? And I really liked this nuance that sometimes Maul doesn't even know why he does things, which is very real. Like we do that. It'll just work out, right? I'll just kind of leave this, here, or I won't attend to this right now. And I'll see what sort of, what does the road bring? What does the path reveal as I walk the path? I don't know where the path is going yet, but as I walk it, it will reveal itself. So I really like that nuance with him about, he's like, I don't know why I'm keeping you alive, but maybe you'll be useful later. And sure enough, he's useful later, and for a variety of reasons. And I think that really makes Maul a more dangerous and interesting foe, because he's not just, it's not just about mustache twirling and, defeating the good guys, but it's about who is out here, who can I use, who can I manipulate, who can I influence to serve my ultimate gains.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Every single person I come across. That's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not ashamed of it.
Right.
And he does it unabashedly and doesn't care.
Yeah.
Everybody is a means to an end.
Yeah. And with Devon, in some ways, he's playing a little bit of a long game with her.
Yeah.
And that is scary. That's scary too. He's calculating. He's also doing it on the fly, but he also can calculate and play the long game. And we're going to see maybe in season 2 how long it's going to take. But this is, it's going to take some time, and that's pretty scary.
Well, and that goes into this point about again, Bryan, picking up on your point. Who's using whom here with Crimson Dawn and Maul. Because, Dryden Voss is clearly like, this is, his underling is like, this is dangerous. And he's like, but this is a reward that if we can pull it off, it's worth the risk.
Right.
Hugely. Yeah. And they're both going into that relationship knowing that they're going to be using each other. I mean, Voss says as much. You do this for me and I'll do that for you. And then we'll both get what we want.
Yeah, this is a very transactional situation. Mm-hmm. It's this universe is very transactional in some ways, right? The Empire, the Sith is transactional in some ways, right? You do something for me, I do something for you, and it just the criminal organization's very transactional,
right? There's a podcast that's not out yet. I just recorded it this morning with Dr. Amy H. Sturgis, who's one of the professors at Signum University, and we talk about Star Trek and Star Wars and some of the important, why these two, modern mythologies have such traction in culture and stuff like that. And one of the things that we talked about was how Star Wars is a very descriptive franchise. It describes power. It describes theories of power. It describes revolution, who holds power, how power is taken back, what happens when you take back power, all of these kinds of things. And I forgot my point, but it was related to something you were saying, Bryan. I got lost in my own mind there for a second. But this idea that Star Wars is a great morality tale about power and the uses of it.
I think that's one of the things that appeals to me every time I go into another show or whatever. It just does, coming from a history, political science background, I'm also interested in the power and political power. And it's just fascinating to see all this play out.
Right. Have you read any of the Heat Death series on called Decline and Fall?
I think one I saw. Okay. I've read one, and I want to read more.
I think you would really enjoy that because it's the whole ideas of telling the history of the Empire as a historian within the world, rather than us externally looking at it. Jean, how cool was that to see former Jedi and former Sith fighting alongside each other?
I mean, I gave Daki so much grief. You know what I'm saying? I gave the homie a lot of grief. You know what I'm saying? Because as people know, I am not a fan of the Jedi Order, period. So I'm predisposed to dislike Jedi Masters, especially in this period of time, right? But I have to give it to Daki, man. He really, he said, you know what? I'm going down swinging. And I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that the people, the one person that I care the most about is going to be okay. And whatever I have to do in order to make that a reality, I'm willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That is not Jedi.
That's a good point.
It's not
He
Jedi.
did rise to the occasion, didn't he? Yeah.
That's not Jedi.
Whoa, you're kind of blowing my mind. I was like, oh, want Daki. But you're right. He stepped up and he stepped in and he, did he give as much as he had? I think so.
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he did. He was already injured.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We know that, right? We're not sure how old he is, but he's aged, and probably he's aged much more in the 2 years from, Order 66.
Right.
Yeah.
And he, in the beginning, was very much holding on to the Jedi Code, what he knew. And that Daki from episode 1, episode 2 would never have teamed with Maul, to me, in my eyes. What we saw was an evolution of Daki saying, I have to do what I have to do, no matter what, in order to make sure Devon is okay.
Can't run and hide anymore.
And if I have to ally with this Sith that I know what she doesn't know, but I know, if I have to ally in order to make that reality happen, I'm going to do it.
So he had an arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a complete arc.
That's why I'm saying I got to give respect to Daki.
Damn.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
I completely wrote him off. I was like, anyway, we're not in episode 10 yet. We'll get there.
Right. But I gotta
no, that's good. And they set him up. They set up the power levels really nicely so that we could see this progression, and we could see Devon climbing that progression.
Yes,
over the course of the 10 episodes, so that by the time we get to 10, she's holding her own. Well, at least in 9, she's holding her own against 2 Inquisitors.
Yes.
And bopping in against,
Vader from time to time.
Vader time to time as we move into 10. Yeah.
Did you catch that sweet little move where she's kicking Marok and blocking the Raven at one time in sort of that
goes
wushu
backwards
style? So good. Oh my God. He trained her really well.
The
way they animated that was so
amazing.
Yeah.
And then when they're, traveling underground, right when they get to the lake and Daki stops, it's like, no, something's coming.
Yeah.
No one else realized it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Maul didn't realize it.
No.
And Maul even tells Rook on that little journey, have respect. That dude is a Jedi master.
Yes.
You do not have the right to talk dirty about him.
Yes, yep. I can. You can't.
That's right.
Like you
and
said
he did
before,
it really gently. He could have knocked the hell out of her, but he was just be cool.
Yeah.
He's a Jedi master. You're not.
There are levels to this, like you said before. There are levels.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Maul reminding his underling, there are levels.
Yep.
And showing respect.
Yeah. Right. And then it goes into what you guys were talking about a couple of episodes ago, where Maul kind of has that momentary, is this the one? Is this
Yeah.
Right. And he, because he can see both, he can see where he is, but he can see both sides of it. And he can understand, he has that sort of meta moment of seeing the whole and yeah, sure, I'm a bad guy and I know I'm a bad guy, but I can also see the good guys and I understand what the good guys are about and I can appreciate all of it. And in that moment, it's that same sort of inner peace that he has, that he's able to tell Rook, dude's a Jedi Master. You know, that's not up, right? But he couldn't do that if he wasn't in some place at peace with himself.
And that's amazing because in those final moments, he's in the arms of Obi-Wan. When he asked that question,
right?
Yeah.
When he asked the question as he's going, he's in the arms of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot that, like I said, I'm ready for the comeback. I'm ready for the Maul comeback.
Yeah.
We got a reboot, revamp, retell. The story.
It happens in other franchises. It's okay.
It does. Yeah. It does.
And there's a couple of more Maul moments before we flip over and listen to Elysia's lore bomb on troopers and armor, mobile armor. Because I think that thing has a different name. That's not an AT-AT. I don't want to get in trouble with the fandom because I called it the wrong thing. But there's this moment at the end of 9 where Maul is hammering stormtroopers like Vader was hammering rebels at the end of Rogue One. Right? Where he tosses his saber and he like chops the dudes in half and and he's just beaten down on the Inquisitors. He's like really feeling his rage. And then there's that great moment where he sort of jumps back and, they're trying to get that his final little leap. And he sort of kicks his leg that he keeps doing, right? Because it's reaching at him.
Yeah, that was so great.
That was.
But you know what it made me think of is Morpheus doing the little hand gesture at Neo in the Matrix. Like, okay. Right? It was just that kind of little absent. I don't know. There was just something about it that made me think of that scene.
That's good.
And before the last thing I'll say about Maul is
not the last thing you'll say.
Not the last thing right now. Before we go to break and listen to Elysia, his face when Spybot went down. There was so much emotion for Spybot. Right. That took me like, Spybot is cool, but I'm just like, wow, I think they just off Maul's only friend.
Right.
He looked truly pained in that moment for a split second. It was like there was a show on his face, like, wait, what? Spybot? like your favorite pet being. Yeah, we didn't, but we didn't get that from the passing of any other of his company.
Right.
We didn't get that close up of his face. We didn't see the emotion, the fleeting emotion for anyone else's death.
And that's when he kicks it into the next higher gear.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He leans into his rage.
Watching Spybot go down in the acid lake.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about Maul?
He has feelings.
More feelings for Spybot than for the flesh and blood.
One or two of his brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
And it leads back to what can I get from people? What can I get from things? What can I use? He recognizes Spybot's utility. And he knows this is something that he's going to miss.
Yeah.
Spybot was loyal.
And Spybot was very loyal.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have to worry about anything. You didn't have to worry about having Spybot stab him in the back.
Never.
With his lightsaber.
Never.
Nope.
Or conspire against him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bryan, what did you think of Maul taking down that walker?
That was pretty amazing. And the other crew that were there, Lawson and the team, they're like, oh my God, what does just, they never seen power like that before. to swipe it. And I love a little, tried to walk. The walker tried to walk without its foot. And it's like, you're done. You're toast. And it's just the team's reaction. It's like, yeah, welcome the Shadow Lord.
Was cool too was, okay, so we all know that disabling a leg is, fatal to these things. And I like how he had to slow cut it. Like it was like, oh, this is a lot of material. I gotta cut through.
Right.
But then when he flicked his saber, his double sabers up into the air, what I noticed on my second watch, it didn't cut the whole thing in half.
No, it didn't.
No.
It sliced through the power where I would assume the engine is, so that when it fell over and then we saw it sort of internally explode and then externally explode.
Right.
Like that was a calculated blow to take out its power source.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like a little to the left, I think, not straight in the middle. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Totally badass.
Yeah, it's like bullseye.
Yeah.
And then somebody comes in. Go ahead, David.
Well, I was going to say, we see, did Lawson actually teach Riley how to shoot at some point?
Yo, that was so good. That was so good.
I was like, oh man, he's going to shoot himself in the leg or something. And no.
And then Dad says, just remember what I taught you. I said, oh gosh.
Right.
I gave you so much grief.
Right.
I gave you so much grief. From parent to parent, I gave you so much grief, brother. And here you are. Talking about, just remember what I taught you. It brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, oh, this is so wonderful. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You a couple of times now, Jean. You step back, man.
I gotta admit, when people do what they do, I gotta call it out. I gotta say yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's a dangerous world, right?
My bad.
Gotta teach your kids how to survive in this dangerous world.
How to survive.
Yep.
And then I did appreciate the fact, and this goes back to the thing of them balancing the show for adults and for adolescents, is that Riley never shot to kill. He was always shooting stun bullets.
Always on stun.
Yeah.
So
always on stun.
That's right.
Bryan, anything else, or should we jump into Alicia's lore bomb?
All I would say is, we've been talking, one of my themes throughout this series was the boot on the planet, the Empire's boot on the planet. And now it's the Imperial Authority. So the word interim is gone. There's more troops, more walkers, and the Empire controls this planet using the death penalty, which is new. That wasn't announced before. And if you go back to the beginning of 9, turn on the subtitles and you'll hear that over. I saw it a little bit when I saw my second watch. Right. Sorry, carry on. Yeah, so you now see really almost pretty much full control, and now it makes sense, right, to have that second destroyer there, David, as you were saying. So I don't know if they'll give this planet up. Janix is now part of the Empire.
Yep.
Oh, they're not giving it up.
They're not going to give it up. No, right?
If they had nabbed him right quick and it was over in 5 minutes, I think maybe, right? They may leave garrison a few extra administrators and some troops, but no, now you're right. The full boot is coming down. Are you still working on your blog post?
I am.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll post it pretty soon.
I'm looking forward to reading that. I see one other note you had here in the outline about Maul paying for Devon's apprenticeship. Did you want to say anything more about that?
Well, I was just saying that, I was just thinking about the price. He wants Devon to be his apprentice, but what price? Right? By the end of the 9th episode, he's lost a lot of people, and he's going to lose more when we come into 10. And it's like, wow, man, I guess that's the price of doing business. But it's a big price when you really think about it.
Do you think, Jean, that Maul has any problem paying that price?
No.
Yeah.
No. He'll burn the galaxy down to get back at Palpatine.
Right.
Yeah. I agree.
Hate people.
Yeah.
Or people I know. What do they say? Hurt people, right?
Hurt people.
Yeah. It's not redeemable. I mean, you can, kind of understand a little bit, a little sympathy even, but not redeemable.
Cool. All right. Let's listen to Alicia's lore bomb on Troopers.
Okay, let's talk Star Wars Troopers. I'm just going to keep this to a basic overview, but know that there are, of course, all different kinds of subdivisions within each type of troopers in every era, so we don't have time to get into all that. But let's just the general evolution of the troopers through time. I mean, there have been troopers going back to at least the Republic Defense Coalition of the High Republic hundreds of years ago, because troopers just basically mean soldiers, the grunts, boots on the ground. But what we start to think of as the typical Star Wars kind of troopers with that distinctive armor begins with the clone troopers, which were bred on the water planet of Kamino by the expert geneticist natives, the Kaminoans, around 32 BBY is when that program began, so about 15 years before the events of Maul Shadow Lord. And they were bred to fight the separatist droid armies on behalf of the Republic. So yeah, this is what they are, what the Clone Wars are named for. But we find out, of course, that there was a secret Sith plan to use these, not only to pit the clone troopers and the droid armies, the Republic and the Separatists against each other to destabilize the galaxy, which leaves room for other powers to slip in. But of course, the Sith had other plans for them. We'll get to that in a moment. The clone troopers, though, they were modeled after the Mandalorian bounty hunter known as Jango Fett, who was given one clone without genetic tampering to raise as his son Boba. We see that in the prequel trilogy. But the rest of the clones, almost the rest of the clones, we'll just talk general now, were bred with accelerated aging. So they are literally made to live fast and die young, but they are also bred to be peak soldiers with more submissive personalities. However, some inconveniently develop individual personalities anyway, especially when there are genetic mutations, as in the Bad Batch, whose TV show takes place right before Shadow Lord in the timeline, as I said earlier. Now, the secret Sith plan on top of all this is that they had chips implanted in all of their heads that would cause most of them to turn on any Jedi or Force user around them when the flip was switched, aka Order 66. So after Order 66, they take down the Jedi. The Republic overall is taken down. Palpatine steps in as Emperor, and the Empire begins. And now under Imperial control instead of the Jedi influence, with these Order 66 flips switched in their brains, the clone troopers became even more subservient because they were no longer being treated as individuals either, and even all personality was stripped away from their now all-white armor. Under the Empire, some people wanted to end the clone program, and by some people, I mean especially Tarkin. Tarkin really was against this. He saw it as an expensive reminder of the Republic, and he wanted to switch instead to conscripting human troopers, which he had this idea, they'll be volunteers and they will be more loyal that way. So this brings us to the part in the timeline where Shadow Lord takes place, where, and I'll quote StarWars.com's data bank on this. They talk about the TK Stormtrooper, or the TK Trooper for short. StarWars.com writes, as clone troopers are gradually phased out of Imperial ranks, the TK Stormtroopers begin to fill the dwindling regiments with naturally born human recruits. Initially trained in secret by aging clone commandos, the TK Troopers are deployed on many missions during the early days of Emperor Palpatine's reign. With gleaming white prototype armor and helmets fashioned from a never-used Phase 3 clone design, the troopers quickly become the striking physical manifestation of Imperial control. So these are the human troopers we see being introduced in the Bad Batch, again set right before Maul Shadow Lord, and this is again who we saw arriving on Janix in the events of this first season. And these, of course, will evolve into what we just generally know as Stormtroopers, going back to the original trilogy. And these are, of course, named after, probably people don't realize the Stormtrooper name is from World War I of the German army. They were the elite shock troops of Imperial Germany that specialized in commando-style raids. So, storming A storm as in storming a location, not as in bad weather per se. But the designs in Star Wars were made to mimic Nazi iconography from World War II. And the suits are specifically designed to look like moving skeletons. So these human stormtroopers are taking over, and meanwhile the Kaminoans are whining about contracts. They're supposed to keep being paid to make clones, and Palpatine also has a few things he wants to hide. So they just decide to destroy all of the cloning stations on the planet of Kaminoa. Just massive destruction planet-wide. But the clones that remained were kept to serve the Empire as long as they would or could. And they were put to work training their replacements and then left to live out the rest of their short lives, many in poverty. We see in Obi-Wan Kenobi, we see a clone trooper begging 8 years after this. A lot of them, of course, suffer from PTSD, especially from being forced to turn on their allies and comrades, the Jedi, during and after Order 66. So it's kind of bleak for a lot of clone troopers after this. But by the way, speaking of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I don't think I said before that apparently Ray Park was going to appear as Maul in Obi-Wan, but they decided to go a different direction. It would have made sense for Obi-Wan to confront Maul because of their previous confrontation and because Obi-Wan is the one who ultimately kills Maul later. But it also made a lot of sense and probably was even more exciting for him to confront Vader. So that's what we got. Anyway, throughout this era, we see these human, quote unquote, volunteer stormtroopers, which I think there's more and more conscription that goes on as it goes. The stormtroopers, aka known by the slur bucketheads, they become the norm with all of their human foibles and bad aim. So this is, my fun fact is that the clone troopers were the superior soldiers. You know, they were literally bred that way and trained from childhood. And these stormtroopers who join up as adults and just don't have the same discipline or genetics or any of those things. This is my favorite explanation for why they keep missing everything that they shoot at. The Empire decides since human troopers are less expensive than specially bred clone troopers, they can just have more of them, and it just becomes a numbers game where you just overwhelm people with swarms of them. But this shortcoming of not being trained from a young age, this is why decades later, after the fall of the Empire and the events of the Mandoverse, the eventual First Order starts taking future stormtroopers to brainwash and train from a younger age. For example, the character who becomes known as Finn. It doesn't seem to improve most of their aim, though, but anyway. The Empire did take some of the Kaminoans with them when they destroyed all their cloning facilities. So there were still some clones being made after this. And we see given cybernetic enhancements to create the Dark Troopers that we saw in The Mandalorian. That is taking place about 26 years after Shadow Lord and 9 BBY. So let's see if any of those show up in The Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the next Star Wars thing up. I can't wait to hear you guys gush about the finale, and I believe Bryan has a related post coming to the Lorehounds blog. Looking forward to listening to and reading all the Lorehounds coverage, and do check out the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast if you haven't yet, where we'll be covering this evolution in minute detail over the next 1 gazillion years. May the Force be with you, and may the Force push be with Maul. R.I.P. Daki, Rook, Scorn, Icarus, Keberis, and all the other Mandalorians, and especially you, Spybot. If I didn't say their name, it's because I don't think they're dead. Bye.
That's a good mic drop right there.
Yeah, that's great.
We do have her part B hot takes because she split them up, and I thought, oh, well, but I didn't listen to them prior, so I didn't know where to drop them. So we're going to listen to that when we get to the other side of the break, but that was fascinating. And I remember seeing these troopers going, these are different guys. But there's this great scene, there's this great little moment in this episode where Marok walks up to one of the dudes that has the shoulder epaulette thing indicating a higher status rank. And he's like looking him around and sort of looking up at the guy. The guy's like stammering. And then Marek walks off and you see him sort of, relaxes his body. Like really great stuff. Super cool. All right. Anyway, let's take that break and then we'll come back and get into episode 10. All right, we are back. Let's listen to the other half of Elysia's fresh take. Did you guys have anything that you wanted to react to about the trooper lore bomb, though?
I've heard about the Stormtrooper name in the World War, and they're those crack shoot soldiers who had. You see them sometimes in the World War II movies that. Dave and I, we watch on occasion. They have the automatic weapons. They're fancier. They're more modern weapons. So it all connects. Very interesting.
Right. John, any reactions or thoughts?
Nah, yeah, just the overall. I feel so bad for the clone troopers.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I've always felt badly for them. And it just ends terribly for millions of clones, right? Because they were the standing army. And to be, subverted, to have your will subverted in the way that it was with Order 66. And then after you've done it, to show you the horribleness of Palpatine. Okay, you did it. Means to an end. That's it.
Yeah.
Not necessary anymore. Thanks. Now go live your lives in whatever wretched ways that you can, because you can't do anything else.
So this goes into this sort of descriptive nature of Star Wars, where this is a cautionary tale about how a society treats its veterans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
After they've given service. And I don't know if either of you have ever watched that old HBO series Rome. That plays a big part of it as well. That's an interesting aspect that is dealt with quite well there. But yeah, the Bad Batch, certainly, I believe, through Clone Wars, there's a bunch of clone sub-stories, aren't there, as well?
Yeah.
Because that's where we meet some of the clones that we are like really into, right?
And you have Jedi who don't even consider them to be anything, but they could be, robots for a lot of the Jedi.
Right.
They don't see any humanity in clones.
Yeah, and doesn't Anakin bond with his group of clone soldiers?
I'm trying to think of that name.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy had a name.
Dex.
Yeah.
Rex.
Yes.
Rex, that's right.
Rex.
Yeah.
Rex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it also plays into this idea of conscription, right? Which is problematic in society. There's a reason why we have a volunteer army in the States. In the United States, the Vietnam War with the draft just ripped the whole society apart.
Right.
Yeah.
And we see that in another country that is conscripting a lot of young men.
Yes.
And we see then also with Order 66, what do you do if you joined up in good faith? You have that thing in you that says, hey, putting on a uniform feels right. I'm serving my country. I'm serving people. I'm doing a lot of peacetime activities that might be beneficial for people. And then you get an order that is, at a gut level is against everything you thought you stood for. And
you mean for the clones or for the
trooper? For a trooper, for a soldier, period, of any time or place. When you receive an order that you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right, but I said that I will suspend my own judgment in these matters and follow the orders of my, chain of command.
I mean, that's the best part of the last set of movies that we got that I, I try not to name, but, Finn having that awareness, having that, come that clarity of what you just said.
Right.
That was the best part of the narrative for that movie, I thought.
And squandered.
And squandered.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not litigate. That's a different podcast. Let's talk about the Dark Lord. Let's see here. Chapter 10, the Dark Lord, Maul, and the Jedi engage Vader and the Inquisitors, while Vario, Two Boots, and the Lawsons make their way to the rendezvous point, which is full of Imperial troops. During the fighting, Daki pushes Marok off a bridge. With Devon distracted fighting the 11th brother, Maul decides to leave Daki to be killed by Vader. Devon sees her master die and is overcome with rage. Maul helps her escape from the Inquisitor and Vader and promises to train her so they can have revenge. Lawson sacrifices himself, or does he, to allow Riley, Two Boots, and Vario to reach Voss's ship. Joined by Maul and Devon, as the ship leaves Janix, Devon agrees to become Maul's apprentice. We should probably listen to Alicia's part B fresh take, and this may be wildly out of order, so I do apologize, everyone, but let's check that out.
Anyway, Sam Witwer's busy. He's got another season of Maul coming up, and he's going to be grappling with, I really think that Maul is a subtle character in some ways. He's not a character who shows what he's thinking or feeling or, except sometimes his rage and his depths of despair. But we see there's a lot of gears turning in his head at all times. He is a clever boy, but maybe not as clever as he thinks. So we see him, for example, stepping back with a little force push of betrayal to allow Vader to kill Daki. And so for Maul, this is on the one hand, a way to save his own hide. Also, it's a way to get rid of someone who's moralizing and keeps getting in his way. And it instills the anger in Devon to finally get her to turn to him. But two questions about that. One, is Maul doing to Devon in part what was done to him? Is this something that he will ever recognize and feel a little bit of guilt for? This is definitely a hurt people, and he knows no other way situation, but will he have any insight into that in the future? And the other thing is, it would be very inconvenient for Maul if Brander Lawson, who saw this betrayal, somehow survived, which I think he might have, because until they show me the body for either him or another character I'm about to name, I am going to picture Brander and Tech for the Bad Batch, a show that was set right before this one, by the way. I'm going to picture them together in Imperial custody somewhere with Brander's ex-wife working to break them out. And that is my headcanon until they prove me wrong. But now, next season, we see Maul, Devon, and Riley in the hands of Crimson Dawn. I didn't mention this Rintaro character in my lore bomb about Crimson Dawn last week because Rintaro is a character who's only up to this point been mentioned in the Kira-centric book Crimson Climb. So they are expanding this character who I guess is someone who is temporarily Dryden Voss's boss. But obviously, Dryden Voss has asked Maul to help him take him out, and then Dryden Voss will just fall directly under Maul. And we know that's the way things are going because that's how things are by the time of Solo. I will be very curious what Devon and Riley make of this whole underworld situation. Will either of them be more at home there than we expect, or will they be longing to go back to their more innocent ways? And will Maul's mental link with Devon play a role in this? We do see Maul forge a similar telepathic force bond with Ezra Bridger in Rebels much later in the timeline, which brings the question, what happens to Devon by the time of Rebels, which is set about 15 years after this? Does she wise up and leave Maul behind, or will she meet a similar fate to her master Daki? I hope not. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this. I will be back later with this week's Lore Bomb. I heard what David said on the podcast 2 weeks ago. Ask and ye shall receive. I will be back with an overview of the evolution of the troopers of Star Wars. This time it will be shorter, I promise. I like 85% promise.
All right, so those played out of order, but they're still relevant because what she sets up for
our discussion,
with Maul and what he does, sacrificing Ed,
Daki.
Mr. Daki.
Yeah,
Bryan, and you had some initial thoughts about that earlier as well. Do you want to say a little bit more what you're thinking?
So, yeah, I think everyone kind of is gathering a consensus that this, force push was a pivotal moment where he just, pushes Daki and leaves, and then Daki dies. Devon sees it. It's like a pretty interesting, billiards.
It's Luke seeing Ben Kenobi get struck down.
That's right. Exactly. And what's interesting with that as well is that I think Ben knows.
He chooses
to do that, right? Yeah.
Daki does not.
That's right. There's some agency there that Obi-Wan decides I'm a better place. This is going to be a better situation if I go. And versus Daki, who has no agency in that role because he's literally pushed. So, it's just one of those kind of pivotal moments that leads to, does she really, in some ways, I guess Devon chooses to be in Maul's apprentice, but it's also kind of limited choice. Maul really boxes her into a corner, right?
Master manipulation.
Exactly. That little force push, boom. It just sets all this stuff down like dominoes, and he gets what he wants, but we'll see if it, comes off or not.
You raise a really interesting point about parenting styles.
Yes.
With Ben Kenobi's like, well, boy, it's time for you to be emotionally scarred. And I'm going to let you watch me die so that your rage can fuel you for your next evolution of your, Jedi training. And I'll force ghost you a little bit, but, you need some, you got to rub some dirt in it and get up on the field and get running again. Very Gen X. It feels very Gen X to me. Whereas, with Daki, right, as you say, there was no agency. This was not a choice. Maul made this choice.
Yes.
Daki did not make this choice. Jean, I see you leaning into the microphone.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan went through the same thing at the hands of Maul. Because he had to watch Qui-Gon die.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. And he could do nothing about it. He was trapped.
Do nothing about it. So we have this recurring thing here happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Cycle.
It's a vicious Jedi Sith cycle that on some level we want to usher adulthood for these young Padawans, these young Jedi. And the way that we usher them into adulthood is to have them view their faux parental, for all intents and purposes, your Jedi master takes the place of your parents.
100%.
Yeah.
You have to watch them die. And what does that turn you into? Do you lean into that moment and grasp your power? You could either grasp it and become a hell of a Jedi, or you could grasp it and say, "I'm going out for vengeance." It's like the Force is forcing a choice here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The universe is forcing you to make a choice here.
Or you can do an Ahsoka And you can nope out. Yeah, I'm out.
Right. Yeah.
I know who I am, and I know what I can go do to make a difference in this world for other people.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't need these crusty old orders of
the third way.
Right.
Yeah. There's a third way. There's a different way.
There's a different way.
Yeah.
Devon is not given. She's not given that option.
No.
But it's going to be interesting to see how she handles these choices.
What she's been given, exactly.
And
the
how
option
she
that she's
matures.
been given.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So there was a really interesting construction here of Daki saying, no, we got to be chill. We got to take our time. We got to be patient. They'll leave. So he's doing that passive thing where Maul is doing that. Dude, we don't have time. The clock is ticking. We got to make a choice. And then he goes out and he like takes everything down in the beginning, or in that part of episode 9. But there's that tension all the way through here. But like you said, Jean, he steps up and he steps into the battle. Daki does.
Oh yeah, he steps into the battle. And let's just get into it, man. When Rook has
Jurassic
comes running like there's something out there. I was not expecting Vader.
Right, because you said at the beginning, right? Like I was pretty excited. I was fist bumping, going like they're doing it. And I
was not expecting Vader. I was thinking some sort of, major fauna that is,
It was very Jurassic.
That's what and that's the thing. It was predatory. Yeah. And that's what Vader is at this moment.
Right.
Sure is.
He is the apex predator.
He is ultimate weapon.
He's the T-Rex. He's the Mosasaurus. He's the whatever. He's the Kraken. That's what Vader is. So she comes running. There's something out there. And that something pulls her right back. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then there he is.
The breath.
Yes.
I said, goddamn.
Yeah. They're going there.
And did you see how they animated him a little bit different? His character stood out differently than the other characters did against the backdrop of the animation.
Stature. He has such a stature. Yes. Like he's so much like larger than everyone else, taller, just more. He's just more of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also like a lot of machine.
Yeah.
as
well as human. Whew. Man.
Damn.
And then the way that he was just beating fools down. that any of them survived that long is still amazing. Kind of astonishing to me.
Yeah. Right.
But that goes to show you, you know, like I said, I have to respect Daki.
Right.
Because he lasted a whole lot longer than a lot of other people would have. You know what I mean?
And he died alone.
Yeah.
There was no one there. Because whenever somebody was in mortal peril, there was a two or three others that were, or, you know, one or two others that were in there to throw a defensive block in or something.
Didn't have that.
Yeah. And you know, this is why I call in the outline the Vader problem, because, you know, Maul, anyone else could take a long time to build something like a criminal network, and Vader comes along and just can dismantle it and so quickly, right? He's such a powerful being that it's like, bring me your best. I'll knock him out.
And he does it.
Knock out all these criminal networks if we wanted to, right? If you think about it.
I think last week I said that Maul at 100% Maul takes out the Inquisitors easily. Vader takes Maul.
Right, an uninjured Maul. Right.
Vader takes an uninjured Maul out very quickly.
Vader takes out an uninjured Maul. Why because the injury makes him more feral in a way?
No. What I'm saying is that Maul at his height, Vader takes him out.
Right. But he's surviving. Oh, but then of course in this one
he's hurt.
It's 3 on 1.
He has,
but it is 3 on 1. So
it's 3 on 1, right?
Yeah.
Right. But Vader, that's the type of power that we're talking about.
Right.
Like Vader takes everybody on screen that we just watch, Inquisitors, Jedi Master, former Sith. Vader takes them all out easily.
Right.
Yeah.
So that the fight that lasted this long it's really saying something that they put
About,
all
yes.
of them were putting everything
Yes.
out that they had.
Yes. And he wasn't.
No.
Yeah,
He
he
That's
wasn't.
the thing.
No.
He was not going 1,000. It was very like, let me see. It was almost like probing. I think he was probing Devon
Interesting.
Mm.
because they can find use for her.
Turn her
Yeah.
into an Inquisitor, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Palpatine wants to get rid of Maul, period. Because I think Palpatine sees Maul as somewhat of a threat, right? For me personally.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah, he sees Maul as the one that got away. Like
A supreme annoyance.
Yeah.
At a minimum, certainly a threat. You know,
the one that got away, and
Yeah.
and he can't have him out there running amok.
cannot.
No.
Right. So he
Ego,
has to get Maul.
yeah.
He has to get Maul. And to me, it was almost like a test.
So Bryan has something here in the notes. Is Devon a weapon or a Maul's legacy?
Yeah.
Bryan, come on, man. That is some fire. That's a fire question.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Right? Yeah. So when you think about it, with the Sith cycle that we're talking about tonight, it's also about legacy, right? Keeping that order going. And I could see that, hey, I've lost Spybot, my bestie, but seriously, we haven't really explored this idea of an apprentice being a legacy, something that goes beyond you, as all beings, right? Regardless of alien or human, you have that kind of DNA about you want to outlast yourself. So I kept, I was thinking, especially toward the end, it's like, is there something else going on here that it's not just, about revenge, and a weapon to have that revenge, but it's also a legacy. Something that goes beyond yourself.
Sean?
Yeah, I think about that. I think, yes, Maul wants something for himself. Like he wants something for himself. It's not just about getting vengeance. He wants a connection to something because he had that connection with Palpatine, with Sidious, before he was turned away.
If you ever worked for a boss that you were like, oh, this is bad. They did me wrong. They didn't, I was ill-treated. And then like someday when you become a boss, as a manager or whatever, you're like, I'm going to do it different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got that in him.
Yeah, he has. Definitely, to what Bryan is saying and what you're saying, David, he has that in him,
right?
And he wants to use that to get his vengeance. But there is a part of him that I think is looking for connection because Maul cared about his brothers.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Maul was not unfeeling, right? The rage was out of feeling. It was not an absence of.
Right.
Yeah.
It was because of. His anger is because of.
And that's what they showed us in the flashback in the tunnel is that little boy, younger self of him.
Yes.
Traumatized.
So I can absolutely see that he wants something more than just,
Jean, I'm getting multiple errors on your recording, so let me stop it and do a fresh recording, and then you can pick up a little bit. Okay, we had a little technical glitch, so I restarted the recording, but Jean, just re-summarize your points just in case we had an audio problem.
Again, it's just that I don't think that Maul, to what we're talking about, him wanting something more than an apprentice, I can see it, but I don't even think he sees it at this point.
Right.
Doesn't mean that he won't see it. And that's what's interesting to me about the character, because when we see him outreach to Ezra to try to bring Ezra to his side, there is emotion there. There is feeling there. There is a need from Maul to connect, right? And I really believe that on some level, he's recognizing that there is a tremendous amount of loss. Like, this Maul is not the same Maul that, I had in my mind from before this series started. Now it's the series is making me think more in-depthly about what it means to be turned away from the dark side, what it means to be cast aside. Because Jedi can walk away. Sith, you have to die.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're not dead, what does it mean for your emotional state? What does it mean for your mental health? What does it mean for you as a person?
To be separated from that bond and that structure and that context.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ultimate Ronin kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And part of that Sith cycle is about grief. Palpatine, and now, as Jean, you were saying, Maul, they take advantage of grief.
Yes.
Right? Anakin, loss of his mother, loss of his wife. I want to learn the dark secrets of living forever. And that emotion, right, is that connection of loss, I think also plays into this that you were saying, Jean, very well, right? It's you want to make that connection, and you're grieving as one of those emotions that the dark side can really manipulate.
Get in there and twist and turn it.
Yeah.
Because grief is such a potent emotional state.
Yeah.
And it's manipulatable in a way because you're sort of, it has a disorienting effect, and it has a sort of a hall of mirrors kind of effect. And emotions seem stretched and out. We really need Nicole here on this one to talk us through the grief thing.
But we just haven't seen a Sith have to deal with that. We've seen Jedi,
true, right?
Yeah.
We've seen Jedi have to deal with, what it means to no longer be a Jedi. We've never seen a Sith deal with what it means not to be a Sith, because when you're not a Sith, you're dead.
Yes, exactly. And now we have this new thing called Shadow Lord. And what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I think we should see about wrapping it up here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either of you had any more points. I did have one sort of funny, because I have to throw a Tolkien in here. But Maul was trying to do a Gandalf and be like, Vader, Balrog, you shall not pass. And Vader was like, not happening today, my brother. I am passing. I am walking these bridges.
That's right.
I mean, but could we just take a moment to really say just how badass Vader is? I mean, let's just collect ourselves.
He is a chosen one.
It would be a disservice to any discussion where we don't talk about how badass this motherfucker is with the Force.
I remember talking to you, Jean, at one point after seeing, Rogue One and having Vader show up like that at the end.
Yes.
And, you were just like, no, that's calibrate what you think you know about Vader, because who Vader really is. Because we never really see him unleashed like that in any other thing.
That was the first time that we saw it on screen. Yeah.
And so they've taken that idea and they've taken the sort of sensibility of the fandom and said, okay, we're going to give you practically an entire episode of this guy wrecking shop.
Do you think you know what Force using is?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me show you when somebody is, and I don't even think he's at the height of Vaderness here.
No.
He's not
just beginning his journey.
At the height of Vaderness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only his first year.
It's his rookie year.
It's a rookie year.
He's just on the field.
That's right.
I mean, this is, and again, I said, he was around me while I was watching the show. He hovered. And he stopped and he's like, when they brought the roof down on Vader, he said, "Oh yeah," just like that. He's like, "Oh yeah." And then Vader steps out. He's like, "I told you, Papa. Look, all he has is some dirt on him."
Nice.
All he has is some dirt on him. I said, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh man, we need him. Yeah. Good thing you're here to put him onto the podcast because.
But that's the.
And it took all three of them to match him.
Yes.
I got to go back and watch the episode of 10 again, this time at normal speed, to see how much. Whenever Vader is 1v1 with somebody, how badly they're losing. And he's, like you said, he's still just kind of at 40, 50% speed, right?
Yeah.
He's not really coming down on it. Is he kind of toying with him? Is he kind of having fun with him?
It's like he's a predator playing with your food.
Yeah, Maeve. Exactly. He's, and we are remembering of all the physical pain that this guy is feeling right now, right? Because he lost, all the burns, lost arms, lost an arm, couple legs, and he is in excruciating pain, and that's what the Emperor wants him that way.
Wants him,
if you remember,
constant pain.
Use the pain, but he still has that discipline to be like at 50%. It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. You're really learning his power.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get up out of here?
Yeah.
Season 2.
Can't come quickly enough.
Yeah. There were some rumblings like maybe, we're going to see it next year. Like they might have already been at work at this.
It has to be next year.
Right.
It can't be 28. It has to be 27.
No. Absolutely.
Cool. What do we got coming up here? I'm just looking at the show tracker here, looking at the timeline. Devil Wears Prada 2 just came out. Haven't had a chance to see it yet, but I got to get... life is just, it's just crazy right now. I'm just kind of slammed. A lot of people talking about Widow's Bay. I wonder if Alicia's going to get up on that.
I think so.
Okay. I watched an episode. I thought it was cool. It was kind of a... I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting take on the genre. What else we got? The Terror, Devil in Silver. That's coming out tomorrow, relative to our recording. So, Bryan, you and I might touch base about that.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. You didn't know you weren't into Mortal Kombat, Jean, were you? You were.
No, we're not doing. At least I'm not doing Mortal Kombat.
No, I don't know anybody is.
But I am doing He-Man. Me and Elysia.
All right.
I have the power. Let's go.
But you are doing the Punisher special presents. You also got a Daredevil, I think.
We're doing Daredevil just finished, so we're recording at the end of this week, and you guys should have it shortly thereafter.
Okay,
Great season. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it.
Go out and see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to chopping it up and breaking it down. But
that's you, Luke, and Elysia, right?
Me, Luke, and Elysia.
Sweet.
Great season.
Sweet.
Great season.
Then, of course, Mandalorian Grogu is coming down the pipeline here.
I'm
Spider
up for
Noir. What's that?
I'm up for that, too.
Yeah. I'm letting somebody else drive it.
I know you are.
I'll be around, though. We got Spider Noir.
Yes.
And then right after that, Star City.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting. And then Masters of the Universe. Vampire Lestat. I know John and Elysia were talking about that. Disclosure Day, Toy Story 5, like it's stacked. It's getting busy. So it's kind of nice that we're in a slow period right now because we're gathering our strength. Then House of the Dragon. I see The Bear has got a date finally. Season 4. I am so excited for that. I got to talk to Ron Dawson. I might be recording with the Dungeons and Durags guys on Saturday with Ron and JD. They've been busy with life as well, but they're still intending to join up into the network.
Awesome.
So we're going to get them going. Supergirl, Silo, Odyssey, and then Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Our friends at Captain's Pod will be doing that. Lanterns, Ted Lasso.
Spider-Man, Brand New Day.
Oh,
that's also July.
Spider-Man. I missed
Spider-Man.
it.
Yeah, another one.
Also July.
It's crazy, yo.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. So, we're going to be busy. Quick shout out to the Discord server boosters, folks who donate a little bit of extra to make our Discord server a more fun place, which I expect is going to get a little busy this year. So thank you all for doing that. Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve 71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. And of course, we are independent podcasters. And so your subscriptions help fuel this engine and all the fun, cool things that we cover. We make sure that our co-hosts are taken care of as well for their time and efforts. And all of that is because people take a little bit of extra money out of their pocket and throw it our ways. We know times are tough right now. Times are weird. I don't even know if it's tough. Tough for some people, okay for other people, but it's just weird across the board. So if you feel moved and you want to support what we do over here at the Lorehounds, we would greatly appreciate your subscription. Link in the show notes, Patreon or Supercast, same difference. Just if, people like one thing or the other. But to our top tier subscribers who really are our foundation and our bedrock, Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter OH, Nancy M, Duve 71, Bryan 8063, I know that guy, Frederick H, Sarah L, Gareth C, Andra B, Kwong Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, who is the keeper of the show tracker, by the way. Thank you, Sub-Zero, for all you do keeping that up to date. Aaron K, Dali V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elysia U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Cully S, Il Marielle, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy. You know her too, Bryan, I think.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about, oh my God, we haven't even talked about Into the West. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. We'll connect soon.
We'll get
I guarantee. We'll get it.
The TCS, Dopamini, Eleanor, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumbaruni, Catilla, Josh Liu, Paint and PDX, Corey G, Quinch, Jeannie L, and forever last but never least, Adrian. Bryan, this has been fun. This is your first, I mean, we did American Revolution, but that was a little bit of a special project. But is this your first bona fide full-time show coverage?
Yeah. It was a pleasure and an honor for talking with you guys.
This was dope.
Thank you.
Really a lot of fun, and thank you both. This was a great series.
Thank John for stepping out.
Yeah.
I wonder, I'm really curious to hear what he thinks. I haven't heard much. I know he's been max busy too as well. With our IRL stuff. So, but I'm curious to what he has to say about it this season. If he's
this was good. This was good viewing. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's really good.
Jean, my dude.
Good talks.
I'll see you soon.
Very good talks.
Give my love to your fam.
Absolutely. Everybody be well. And thank you both again. And to everyone else, we out.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by The Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback to starwars@thelorehounds.com and get ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at Patreon or Supercast. Connect with us on Blue Sky. Links for everything in the episode show notes. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities. Thanks for listening.